Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. We are waking the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions. We are an award-winning publisher for holistic health, wellness, and business professionals. We've got a mission to help the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission is Jeanette MacCallum, the Artistic Director of the Vox Grata Women's Choir, and our partner in giving back for our latest book by lead author Jill Austin. This book is called Transformative Leadership, Self-Mastery for the New Voice of Business Success. So you guys, Jeanette MacCallum is the founder and artistic director of the Vox Grata Women's Choir, a Nashville community women's choir. And she's the author of the Sacred Choral Works of the Venetian Ospedale. This was published by GIA in Conducting Women's Choirs, Strategies for Success, from editor Deborah Spurgeon. Welcome, Jeanette.
Thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate being invited.
We have a lot of fun things to talk about. I want to give Jill a quick shout out and a thank you. Jill, thank you for this amazing, beautiful book, Transformative Leadership, and just your big mission and vision to collaborate, especially in this way with Jeanette and her organization. You guys, when we partner in publishing, we do that with this mission to make a bigger impact. And Jeanette, I'm honored to be here with you today, and I'm excited to share you and your mission with everyone. Tell me just a little bit about how you know Jill.
Right. So Jill has served most recently as our board chair at Vox Grata. She came on the board, I want to say about 7 years ago. I did not know her until one of our other board members at that time suggested that she join us in our mission. And she has done so with tremendous grace and wisdom, leadership, and, fairly quickly rose to our executive committee and more recently to the position of board chair. So it's been an honor to work with Jill.
She's an amazing person. And so you guys, Jeanette's much longer and very impressive bio is down below in the show notes. Okay. So like I barely touched the surface of who she is and what she does. And you have dedicated your life to music. Tell me more about what's going on in your women's choir and really in your music world.
Sure. Well, Vox Grata has been formed now for about 13 years. We began with a small group of about 13 singers back in 2011, 12, in that range. Gave our first concert without really knowing whether we would be an ongoing group of singers. But it was such a success, and the women involved were just very committed to what I really envisioned as the mission of the organization from the beginning, which was that I wanted our concerts to be musically excellent, but to inspire our listeners to do more than just sit back and listen to beautiful music. We, from the very beginning, have chosen a beneficiary for each of our concert programs. These have been organizations in the Nashville area who are nonprofit organizations primarily serving women and often their children. And so from the very beginning, I conceived it as a group of grateful women, which is where the name Vox Grata or grateful voice comes from. And we strive to get to know that organization, to partner with them, and to sing our concert repertoire as much as possible around the issues that that organization faces. That is sometimes very difficult to do, but we do really work hard to choose that beneficiary before we formulate our program, and then program around that issue. And I could give you some examples of that, but that has remained our commitment from the very beginning. And the group has grown over the years to as many as 55 singers at a time. We did have a little bit of a dip, as you might imagine, after COVID and coming back, but we're now at about 50 singers for this fall concert, still with that same mission to really, give voice to women through song.
Any of the original members still in there?
We do have some of our original members, fewer all the time, but yes, we still do. And I also came from a private school that was an all-girls school before I formed this group. And what I love about it is that many of my former students are singing with us. And, they often go off to college out of this area, and then when they come back to Nashville, they're looking for an experience like we offer, and they jump in and join us. So it's a thrill for me to have an ongoing relationship with so many of my former students.
Well, I feel like it has to be an incredible undertaking. Just backing up a minute to the way you described how you partner with that organization, and then all of your programming is aimed toward them, that mission. And what an incredible way to go about creating a program. That's got to be challenging. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about the choral music world is it's more and more geared towards really our social concerns of the day. Choral music is being composed more and more for particular issues of social justice. Our living composers, especially in the United States, are really focusing on putting to song words of challenge and words of really just challenge, and putting to words, how can we as an audience, as a choir, as a society really encounter the challenges that we face in our country and in our world, and do it through music, which is a much more it seems that a lot of times the things that we sing about, if you were just talking about them, it would be hard. Sometimes there's divide in our world, but when we sing about these things, it hits the heart, and not just the mind. And so there's a lot of music coming out that is really helpful for us in that programming effort.
The purpose factor is 10x. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I can feel it. It's also a very purposeful increase in vibration frequency. Like you're raising the vibe, and in
Yeah.
so many different ways by putting that intention there.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So, okay. So, you're a leader in your world. What does transformative leadership mean to you?
Well, I've come to understand over the years that, I've worked with a lot of choral conductors in various settings. There are so many forms of leadership from the podium. Um, I think a lot of people think of a conductor of an ensemble as being, fairly authoritative and, very strong leader, but I am a much more quiet leader. And that can still work. And I think one of the things that I've learned is that you need to surround yourself with people of various, temperaments, but all with the same mission and the same goal. And I've been fortunate during my tenure with Vox Grata to invite a co-conductor to join me in leading this choir. And we have different personalities, different temperaments, but we have the same goals. And the singers know that, they can feel that. And even though, she's more outgoing and I'm, a quieter leader, we both have something to offer to that mission. And so in the board of directors, it's the same way. We have a very strong mixture of talents, and but everybody is on board with what it is we're trying to do and be.
I love that because it actually speaks to this gorgeous book as well, where Jill brought in all of her friends and experts and
Mhm.
people with very unique voices to talk about what that meant to them. And we need
Right.
all of you. We need all
Yes.
of the voices, right, to make that work.
Yes. Yes. That's very true.
Um, I had a couple of things on my mind when you're talking about your students and leadership, but I kind of want to ask, maybe an organization is watching this and they want to partner with you for a program. What do they need to know? What do you want them to know about that?
Well, we really want them to help us understand what we can do for them. Um, for example, right now we are partnering with the Tennessee League of Women Voters and their education fund, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan group associated with, of course, the Tennessee League for Women, because we're about to perform a really powerful work. It is called the Suffrage Cantata, and it was written as to honor the fact that 4 years ago was the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment. And unfortunately, we were prepared to sing it in 2020, but we all know what happened in 2020. And so we put it on the shelf and decided that this was the year we wanted to take it back out. And in working with the Tennessee League, we've had meetings with them where we try to focus on them more than ourselves and say, how can we help you in your endeavors as a nonprofit organization yourself? And a lot of our singers have volunteered to go to their events and help register voters. And, that's a way in which we can partner beyond just singing a concert for their benefit, but knowing what they need from us. And that's an example of that.
I think that delay was probably perfectly divine timing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Can look in
Yep.
retrospect only, but yeah, I like that. I'm so glad that I asked you about that and you're
Yeah.
giving that example today. Um, okay, so the other piece of this book topic is self-mastery. So when you think of your own journey of self-mastery, what do you think is one of the biggest nuggets of wisdom you've acquired in the many over your years?
Mm, that's a good one and a hard one. Um, I think I would have to say that the most important thing has been knowing what my strengths and weaknesses are and being comfortable and excited about inviting a co-conductor to join the organization. Um, there aren't a lot of choirs that have two conductors. But in my case, I have a partner who is I have absolutely full trust in. In many ways, she offers strengths that I don't have to the organization. And then recognizing that I also have some strengths that she doesn't have. And so together, I think we offer, everything that we need to the ensemble. But that wouldn't happen without a certain degree of humility on the part of the founder, in my case, and without the right person. So dealing with that in about year 6 of the group was a transformative time for me and for Vox Grata.
I like talking about those kinds of collaborations, especially when you're breaking out of the box of the normal way that it's done. And
Right.
you bring in another strength, and then the two of you are just the dynamic duo of bigger energy, really.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love that idea too. So is there anything you want to share with anyone? You talked about that project. Anything coming up, any events or information you want everyone to know about?
Yes, I will say that we have commissioned a very large scale work, which we hope will be performed in the fall of 2025. And it's on an extremely difficult subject, but one that is so relevant to our society. And that is a performance, a large scale performance on the subject of addiction and recovery in the substance abuse disorder world. Nearly every organization that we have partnered with in our 12 or 13 years is somehow impacted, and some of them quite significantly, by substance abuse disorder. And so we think that by having the first ever choral work that addresses the pain and the suffering and also offers hope and recovery and healing to both folks that are addicts and folks that are recovering and folks that are impacted, family members, spouses. I think we can safely say that everyone in our audience has had some sort of experience with a person they love or they themselves with substance abuse. And so we really want to address that in a way that is hopeful and offers some healing. And in doing this, we plan to partner with as many of the organizations that we have served in the past as possible, just kind of bringing all of them together to offer resources and, just their perspective on this terribly difficult issue that we're facing.
Jeanette, that is brave and badass. Like, really. And I'm thinking of some of my Nashville friends right now. If you guys are watching this interview, I'm going to make some introductions so that you can help Jeanette with everything that she's doing with this and maybe that fall program. And of course, I'm going to have you linked up below for all of those reasons. Jeanette MacCallum, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
So, you guys, I want you to remember that your purchases of Transformative Leadership here in our first quarter of our launch are helping to give back to the Vox Grata Women's Choir. So please hop on over to Amazon and grab your copy of this amazing book. I've got the link down below for you. And lastly, today, everyone, remember your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.